This video is only one part of an in-depth review, so check out the rest at thegoodride.com. Thanks for watching.
Have you been out there scouring the internet looking for the perfect snowboard as a gag gift to give to Snoop Dogg or Seth Rogen? Well, here we have it. 420 Pro.
We rode this right before the COVID shutdown. We got a couple days on some groomers, some pretty good conditions, a little on the firm side. We got a little bit of powder. We rode this with Union Atlas and Union Stratus. Had a pretty good time. And to give this a short summary, this is extra camber than your 420. Still kind of a powder board, but a little stronger going out and just bombing and carving groomers. And it's a small board with a big board sole.
It's a short fat.
Short, yeah. Short and wide with bigger board glide.
Yeah.
To talk about sizing, this is a 52. I would have liked the next size down maybe for my size 9s, but I mean, it was fun, but I'd probably do a little better with the next size down.
I think for powder, this size was fine, but then transitioning into groomers, this size still has that real short fat ride for me, which isn't my favorite style of boards, you know? So it still just feels like so much board underneath your feet trying to transition into groomers.
Yeah, some short wides can feel small and like on all levels.
Yeah.
This one has that bigger personality in certain points. And you're looking at a tapered directional shape, but you can see it's a little more centered on board, but it feels more double-ender than most tapered directional boards that I've tried, especially in the short wide category. It also has a camber profile that is a good bit of camber. It's kind of their cam rock thing going on here. Camber between the feet, going to some rocker in the nose and tail. And it's definitely a little more camber going on than the 420. And it's just big, aggressive, kind of more advanced to expert kind of rider. It's not a mellow board to skid turns. It has a very wide, stable platform that really likes that. It really appeals to that more aggressive rider who wants a short wide.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that they love short wides. They go after them specifically. I can see, like, you know, a person also wanting to like freestyle around with their short wide.
Yeah.
You know, in a board like this, it's still gonna have a pretty like more camberish pop to it.
Let's give her a flex. I'd say it's kind of like medium stiff, but it's got some give to it, a little bit of give. And if you've seen some of our other reviews, you know where this is going. I could butter it pretty well.
I couldn't butter this thing very well, but it did have a lot of pop for a short wide, which I find a lot of short fats to just not have like responsive, snappy pop a lot of times, and this one definitely kept
and it's got that like balance between being rubbery and poppy. And like Yes boards in general, other than their like kind of more their ultralight tech, like with the Yes Optimistic, the new one, have that kind of like a little bit of a rubbery feel when you flex it. Like it just got a smooth bend to it.
It's got a
but it snaps
dampness
back. Yeah, and speed. Speaking of the dampness, I was impressed at how much these things can bomb. So many small boards just don't have
start feeling the short twitchy. They start feeling real weird going edge to edge, whereas this one definitely surpassed all of my thoughts and feelings. And as far as all the short fats go, this one like the cream rising to the top.
Even comparing this, like we were riding this on the same or like the next day after the Hovercraft, which is a bomber, the Jones Hovercraft, which is kind of in that alternative free ride to powder world too. I didn't feel like I was taking a huge step down to a chattery, messy short wide.
Definitely not to a chattery, messy short wide. No, this had a smooth, mellow high that lasted a long time without getting you too anxious and not giving you too many munchies, you know? And even when you got into the munchies, you weren't just like fully out of control just stuffing 14 bags of hot Cheetos in your mouth, you know, and then feeling sick as you got down. These are all metaphors, by the way, for the snow. The board, the 420 board road, it was very smooth. It was like...
Yeah, and it could handle that, like, micro-bumpy stuff.
It could handle
really
micro-bumpy, really the dampness.
Yeah,
that was the hot Cheeto thing.
Yeah, definitely. And so edge hold I thought was pretty good, but if you look at the Yes Hybrid and its disrupted side cut, we were having more fun on that. Grip wise.
Definitely.
Yeah, on the harder snow.
And even just everything about
disruption in the side cut. And turning and carving. It didn't have as much carving power as, let's say, the short wide from LibTech, but had way more carving power.
But a lot smoother
It was that
power.
nice middle ground.
I think it took everything from a bunch of different short wides that I know and just either made it smoother and more accessible or made it funner and better.
And it didn't feel like a board you put away when the powder's gone. You could ride this all the time if you wanted to. And then now, powder. Peter.
I got it in some powder.
I did not. Damn it.
Cue the face shots. Yeah.
Damn, you make my editing job difficult.
Oh, he's not even gonna put them in there. This board, I was riding it compared to a few other boards out in the powder that day, and I gotta say that this board took everything.
Oh, the prior thruster.
The prior thruster, and like even in other days, some other stuff like the Japao and the 420, and I gotta say this thing floats incredibly well.
Yeah, it outfloated the hybrid for sure.
Way outfloated the hybrid. Not necessarily outfloated the regular 420, but it just felt better, poppier, more responsive, just
faster,
a little snappier.
Pace. Yeah.
Just everything about it compared to the 420, I was like, oh, I can see where they've made the improvements and I can actually feel them. It really does feel just faster, poppier, faster,
poppier. But if you want a little more float, then get a little shorter, get a little more float than the Optimistic and the Hybrid. You've got the 420.
Oh, yeah.
And in comparison to the prior thruster, which is a swallowtail, but kind of the same specs, really short, really wide, really aggressive. This just sat on the snow higher.
I only had like 6 inches of it was like pretty good powder, but only 6 inches, and that right over hard, crusty stuff, and that really, really tests how well your board floats. And with this big, full-size tail, my tail was not sinking at all and like jamming into the bottom. And even when I dug in to get cool face shots and little power butters and stuff, I didn't feel it just knifing through. So that big, huge, all that surface area, you really feel it in the powder. And this thing, it's a powder hound. It's an absolute dream in the powder.
If you like that swallowtail, if you like that board to sink and the nose to be up really high, that can work. But this, just like this and the prior Legacy, which they're very similar in shape and size and powerfulness. They're big. I wish you could ride that, because that board kind of blew my mind. And it has that same, these guys kind of have a lot of overlap, that same like groomer appeal and that same powder float, and that one has a tail instead of a normal tail instead of a swallowtail. So it would probably sit on top of the snow just like the 420 did. But overall, this was my favorite of the 420s. I'd still rather, for a groomer and a carver board, I'd rather be on the Hybrid or the Optimistic or the Y, kind of for an all-rounder.
I would take the Hybrid personally for me as an all-rounder board.
I could take a little off the powder float to get all that back on groomers for the all-rounder.
Yeah.
But if you're looking pure powder, this might be a great call, but it could also,
if you have a
it
size,
also is pretty lively for groomers. It's kind of in that border ground between powder and alternative freeride.
This was one of the best in that category I've ever ridden.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite fatties, for sure. Because even compared to the LibTech short wide, which was inspired by this board.
Yeah.
That one just had too much camber.
Oh, I didn't like that at all compared to this.
Yeah, it felt too aggressive. It's very much for a particular type of rider, where while this is still advanced to expert, it just has more of that wider appeal.
420. Whoa! No.
The question was, you have something funny to say?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I was going to do some doobie 420 jokes, you know?
All our reviews are a best effort, objective opinion from an average rider's perspective. There's no brand oversight, and we're free to say whatever we want. We send back everything unless it's a favorite, then we ask to keep those or straight up buy them. Now, if you need advice, fill out the eHarmony profile in the Contact Us section of the site. It's the only way I can help you properly. If you want to support us, and if what we reviewed appeals to you, it helps if you buy through our links. So, thanks for watching.